Good habits formed at youth make all the difference, meaning habits actually have always had their own importance, significance, character, virtue that it plays out in the human life in one way or another, and we don't always notice it, recognize it, because we always take everything about ourselves, including our merits, powers, talents, skills, virtues, as well as our insecurities, deficiencies, for granted all the time, and ultimately, inevitably, we suffer from the lack and the absence of our virtues, habits, practices, beliefs, and the basically development and tyranny and domination of our imperfections, insecurities, inabilities, incapacities, deficiencies, disadvantages in the form of ignorance, arrogance, aggression, and other problems such as crisis, frustration towards one another's success, possession, wealth, etc. So the habits that we basically develop, grow, cultivate at the early stages of our life in and during the childhood, that inevitably ultimately brings about all the difference, change, virtue, distinction, significance that there is to be brought and that can be brought and developed within an individual man and also in his outside external actions, realms, environments. If there is change, significance, progress, distinction, then it's the result and the consequence not just of our all virtues or what we've developed lately, but of what we developed, grown, cultivated at the early life, at the early stages of our development, childhood, adolescence, that now makes all the difference, distinction possible, and makes us stand out and puts us on the path of progress, learning all the time. So obviously, it's always about what we are able to learn, acquire, achieve, master in the early ages, at the early stages of our life, at childhood, adolescence, that is fundamental, critical, that plays an imperative role, not just in those years, but ultimately and most importantly in the adulthood and the years that follow after it. Because if we don't learn now, we don't learn anywhere else. If we don't learn early, we cannot certainly learn anywhere later either, no matter education, success, knowledge, possession, wealth, recognition, approval, because all these things are transient, temporary, and meant to vanish, fade, disappear into nothingness. But good habits are always going to be with it. They are always going to stay in our actions, behaviors, psyche, for eternity, forever. So obviously, it's all about the habits that happen as a consequence of decades of hard work, dedication, discipline, desire, consistency, purpose, perseverance.